Life behind the bar, we be taking it far. Mixing stories with the hustle, yeah, you know who we are. From the taps to the trailer where we set that tone. Mustache, mixology, we're in our zone. Pouring up the grind, heavy shift, every scar. If you're living in the craft, then you know who we are. Tune in, lock in, now we raising that bar. This is time for Mike and Seth and Life Behind the Bar.
Guys, welcome back to the Life Behind the Bar podcast. Things look a little different today. And we are honored to have our very first guest on the podcast. So you don't just have to stare at Seth and I. And first-time viewers, my name is Mike.
I'm Seth.
And we're going to let our guests kind of introduce themselves, and we're going to jump in. Today's podcast is going to be a lot of hearing your guys' story and really helping promote Bent Paddle. You know, we're Minnesota-based. You guys are Minnesota-based. That's the whole goal. It's just for all of us to be able to continue to grow. So that's the goal today. So.
Right.
Yeah, so if you guys want to introduce yourselves.
I'm Karen Tonis, and I'm one of the 4 co-founders of Bent Paddle, and I'm happy you're here. Can't wait to talk beer and Duluth and
everything else. I'm Brian Tonis, and I'm the another co-founder and CEO of Bent Paddle Brewing Company.
Sweet.
Happy to be here.
Yeah.
and director of brewing.
I wear many hats.
Many hats, yeah.
Many hats. Yeah, definitely.
That's awesome. Well, we appreciate you guys having us here. And so let's just start at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Just kind of the story of how you guys got going, what the inspiration was, and
Okay, so we're about to turn 13 in May. After 2 years of planning, to go back even further, Brian has his degree in brewing.
Yep.
You want to chat about that?
Yeah, I actually started brewing at Twin Ports Brewing Company in Superior, Wisconsin. I got a job there late 1999, early 2000. Worked there for 3 or 4 years, kind of earned my chops, if you will, working in a really small brewery. Decided to not finish my geology degree at UMD and go to brewing school instead. It was a really fun conversation with both of my parents, who are college professors. The silence was deafening.
And you were going geology. They're both doctorates of science.
Chemistry and biology and education and stuff. So that was a fun conversation. I think my dad actually replied, "Can you even make a living doing that?" And I'm like, "I'm about to
We're
find
still
out."
trying.
We're still trying. Yep. It's a long game. I decided to go to brewing school, and then from there ended up getting a job in Portland, Oregon.
Wait a minute. He glazed over how neat that is. It's kind of rare, actually, in our industry. You can get a degree in brewing science and technology. He studied in Chicago and Munich, Germany, under all these
you definitely
brewmasters.
cannot. Going forward in life, you can't just glaze
I
over
know,
that.
he
You
says
studied
that.
in Germany.
It's like
no big deal.
It's fine.
So
that's awesome.
It's really neat, and now
it really was a great experience. Being with, it was an international course, and was with people from all over the world. People from Russia, people from Brazil, Argentina,
cool.
Mexico, and the U.S. and Canada. And so learning what different people from around the world do when it comes to brewing was huge. Of course, my favorite part was in Germany, though, learning how they do things. There's not a lot of variety in German beer, but what they do is unbelievably good. And so, their approach to brewing is something I really held on to when I came back to the States and looked at getting a job. So
I feel like doing hospitality for almost 20 years, really talking about how that's not just a small little bump in the road. You don't see that often. I've interacted with a lot of people in this world for a long time, and that's wildly impressive.
Yeah.
A lot of people you can get a good degree in brewing. I did. So
then you got a job.
Yeah, so then I got a job in Portland, Oregon, Rock Bottom Brewery out there. I worked out there for a little bit less than a year, and then my whole plan at that stage was to move back to Minnesota, to marry her, which we weren't even dating yet, but yes, it was my plan. Luckily, it worked out.
I feel like we should say we met in college at UMD here in Duluth, and we were best friends for 9 years, but we didn't date until he came back to the city.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We've known each other coming up 30 years.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Just dated us.
Yeah.
That's my wife and I. We have been together since I was 15.
Oh.
So this January will be 23 years.
Good
And
for
then
you.
married for 15 in
Yeah,
this past November.
we just hit 17. Congrats.
Right.
That's good.
You guys
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. That's cool.
I'm 35.
You young buck. Good for you.
To be 30.
I have been married for 10 years.
Okay, well, congrats. That's an accolade.
What, we 35 when we opened up Bent Paddle?
35.
I think so. Yeah. I just
We were
turned 48.
35,
So
yes.
yeah. So yeah, we were your age when we opened up this
Perfect.
place.
Anyway, so Brian
Big
was a
things happen at
brewer.
35.
Yeah, I was a brewer, and we ended up joining the Minnesota Craft Brewers Guild through the brewery I was working at in Minneapolis. When I eventually moved back, I was the head brewer at Rock Bottom Brewery in downtown Minneapolis for 7 years. Got involved with Minnesota Craft Brewers Guild, and that's where I ended up meeting our partners in Bent Paddle currently.
Okay.
Colin Mullen was a brewer at Barley John's in the Twin Cities. His now wife Laura was running a brew fest at Callister College, I think.
I
She
think it
ran a
was,
brew fest there. Arborfest.
Arborfest.
Yep. So she was running a brew fest there, and we all met. And then we all got involved in the Minnesota Craft Brewers Guild and started working together. And it was quite a few years. Colin and I knew each other professionally. We were on the board of directors of the guild. Laura was the guild coordinator. We started hanging out, quite a bit. Karen
I
was
wasn't in
introduced.
the industry at all. I worked at Cisco Asian Foods for almost 13 years coming out of college. So I did a wide variety of things like accounting, and then I was in HR, and then I did logistics and transportation management. And basically I feel like we were at a crossroads.
Yeah.
Like we were all working super hard, and we kind of just were thinking like, what if we did our own thing? What if we started a brewery and you could brew? At first it was just the two of us, and we talked about it for probably 2 years.
We looked at a small kind of farm style brewery in western Wisconsin. We looked at larger production facility in the Twin Cities. I started working with water from all over the place, looking at because that's the most important ingredient when you're brewing beer is water. And so I looked at water profiles from all over the state of Minnesota, all over the state of Wisconsin. I grew up in La Crosse, Wisconsin, and so I looked there. And at the end of the day, all the water I brewed with from across the country, Duluth had the best that I had ever worked with. And
we
that's
knew
one of
the
things.
city because we had gone to college here. So
Yeah.
it was so Lake Superior is a near, what is it,
It's
97%?
unbelievably soft.
It's almost exactly the water of Pilsen, Czech Republic, where Pilsners were born. And so it's also just beautiful. And
So as a brewer, the way I look at it, it's basically a clean slate
Yeah.
where I can recreate different styles of water from around the world, basically.
Yeah.
By adding minerals, I don't need to remove anything.
which some
And so-
breweries have to do.
Yeah.
And it's 10% of the world's fresh water that we just had.
crazy.
So
right
I knew
here.
we'd never run out of water.
Yeah, right.
That's the big thing.
But that's why I feel we're skipping around a little bit. But we met Colin and Laura. He knew them. I met them at a charitable event that we all
It's
happened
actually
to
a
be at.
Movember event, so we all
Wait,
had
yes, it
mustaches.
was in November.
It was.
You
At,
had a mustache, too?
She was wearing a mustache.
I
think.
was.
It yeah.
where were we? What was
We were at the Blue Nile.
the Blue Nile, which is
Yeah.
no longer.
Yeah,
open.
no longer
But
around, I don't think.
we got to talking, and Laura and I just hit it off, and we were both like, what are you gonna do with yourself and life? And Colin and Brian got together, and it took about, I'd say 6-7
It's 6 to
months
7
of
months.
just like partnership development. Like, should we do this? Should we risk everything? Should we leave the jobs we're in? And we decided, yes, we shared values and brewing philosophy. And Laura is born and raised Duluth.
She's
Okay.
from here, and so she had a lot of contacts.
And
here.
so it was serendipitous. And we hadn't necessarily like nailed down Duluth at first, but it was on the table from the beginning. And we spent
I did have this little part of me that when I left Duluth to go to Portland, Oregon, I was driving up over the hill and the sun was setting, just absolute frigid day. And I was driving over, I saw the sunset, and I knew at that point I'd return to Duluth at some point. Because, Duluth had definitely grown to be my home at that stage of my love.
You lived here for
La Crosse
what,
area where I grew up, and I
9
was here for 8
years?
years.
8 years.
8 years before leaving.
Mhm.
And I knew I'd come back someday. I was hoping it was opening
Yeah.
up a brewery, but
And it was.
and it was.
And in the middle of all of this, like, should we start a company? Should we partner? Where will we do this said brewery? both couples declared to each other that we were pregnant. And so coincidentally, we were married 9 days apart, and our babies were born 3 days apart.
That's
And
great.
so, it was just like,
Yeah,
a
you
nice-
really
We were
talk
both
about meant to
nervous
be.
about telling each other because we're like, okay,
how's this gonna go? We're
how's this
starting
gonna
a
go?
company.
We're starting a company. If we're the only ones, oh great. This is gonna be, it's gonna
So-
be difficult.
Once you guys were kind of like, this is what we're doing,
Yeah,
how did you guys come up with Bent Paddle?
yeah. That's a great question.
Yeah, so Bent Paddle, we actually came up with the name. We've spent a lot of time in the Boundary Waters. It was an annual, a couple times a year we'd go up there, go on a trip back before having a kid and a
He
and a
goes
brewery.
too.
But he goes too now. But we go up there, and when we'd leave on the way back, of course, driving all the way to the Twin Cities is one of my favorite things living in Duluth now. It's a shorter drive.
Yeah.
And so we get to Duluth, I'm like, oh, I used to hate having to drive all the way to the cities after being on a trip from Duluth, specifically to the Boundary Waters. But we're driving back, and we always talked about brewery names. And one thing that happened, we were on a Boundary Waters trip. We got back to the cities. I went into work, and I was mashing in one morning, and the old plastic canoe paddle that I'd use for mashing in every morning at rock bottom broke while I was mashing in.
It was a
Like,
mash
literally, it broke in half. I was like, oh, what the heck? What do I do now? Once you start mashing in, you can't stop. You're committed at that point.
Yeah.
So kind of looked around. I'm like, wait a second. I think I have my canoe paddle in my
From
truck.
our trip.
Yeah, from our trip. And so I went out to the parking garage where I was parked, grabbed it out of the trunk of my car, walked back in, used it to finish mashing in. And I'm like, what have I been doing all these years? This thing
Because
works
it's
great.
bent, and
It's
so
just a
you
bent
have
shaft
more
canoe paddle.
power. So he
Yeah.
here we have automated rakes
Yeah.
for the mash and the mash tun, but there he manually had
Everything
to
was
mash.
manually mixed in and everything.
And
by
the
me.
bend of the paddle was like,
it just
it made it so much
ergonomically, it was
easier.
perfect. So I started using that paddle.
Well,
all
you
the
called
time.
me and you said, I thought of the name, and I said, okay, what is it? It's Bent Paddle. And I said, Bent Paddle. Oh, and he said, yeah, it's perfect. It's a mix of like two of our favorite things,
Our
like
greatest
craft
passions.
beer and his passion for
Mhm.
making beer, and paddling and outdoor enthusiasm. And it was like, that's it.
Yeah,
And so
it just clicked. It just
awesome.
happened.
when we were in the partnership, like business build out phase, Colin and Laura, of course, being our partners, we said, well, do you like this name? This is the name we had in mind. And Colin had thought, he's a musician, and so he had his heart set on 6-string. Not a lot of people know that. So it was like, we kind of went back and forth for a while, but Colin and Laura just thought, you know what, Bent Paddle's perfect because, especially Duluth, we're surrounded by water. The Boundary Waters, we're on the North Shore, we're on the shores of Lake Superior, we're right near the Boundary Waters.
Colin and
Water
Laura-
is literally like the number one ingredient in all of our products.
Colin and Laura were married on the Brule River in northern Wisconsin, and so her family spent a lot of time on the Brule, and so they did quite a bit of canoeing there. I happened to learn to fly fish on the Brule River years ago when I lived here, so it was a
Kindred
good
spirits.
it's a good combination of
Yeah.
things, and it worked for the four of us.
I mean,
So-
you can't get, like you said, even a couple of things, how like serendipitous it is. Like,
Yeah.
all of it lined up perfect.
It was
Yep,
it was
it did.
great.
Yep.
We call that the glory days. But for real, we spent about a year writing our business plan. We had to get fundraising.
Yeah, funding.
We had kind of met with various entities on like, how do we do this? Legal support and business
so
coaches.
I had basically quit my job at Rock Bottom. There were a bunch of changes going on at that brewery at the time with a little bit of a corporate shift in recipe development. So I took that opportunity to move on from there, and so I had about a year, a little bit less than a year, where I could dedicate all of my time to working on the business plan and taking trips up here, meeting with banks and possible investors, and Colin and I worked a lot on building this business presentation, and we worked on the business plan, and
Laura and I were working
Yep,
full
they were working
time.
full-time.
up until, I mean, my last day of my job of almost 13 years was on a Friday, and we moved to Duluth on a Saturday. On the Saturday.
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
Yeah. So we had to
Yeah.
pay the bills.
Yeah.
And,
and
you
we had a baby.
We had a baby. and
So the
we
babies
also-
were born in the middle of all of this.
And we also, it's a stopgap. We were always, avid photographers since we started a photography business
On
for
the
a couple
side.
years on the side,
Yeah.
and did that family photography. We did some weddings, and Laura, our other partner, she was a event planner for many years, and so she was doing weddings, and so we shot a couple weddings that she coordinated as well.
Yeah.
While this, and so we got a good idea what it'd be like to actually work together on some larger projects and stuff. And knew it would.
He would have the
majority
baby
pretty
on the
well.
couch, like in the baby
Yeah.
boppy
Little
thing,
boppy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
and he would
Yeah,
be
boppy
working
couple.
on the
I'd be doing
working on the
financials.
business plan.
Yeah,
And,
looking up equipment, crunching numbers, doing financials. And
yeah.
basically, I designed the entire brewery with like a 3-month-old Liam next to
Yeah.
it. Which is
I love it. The
hilarious.
kids are
It
13.
makes it
now.
a family thing. We're big on that
Yeah.
with doing this and the Mustache Mixology, all of that. Everything is kind of it's a family thing.
Yeah.
I mean, even coming up here, it's not, we're not just going to drive up here, we're going to do this, and we're going to turn around and head back. We
Yeah.
kind of made a little
Make
family
a family
vacation out of
vacation out of
it.
it.
So
That's great.
they're all
We do a
eating
lot
pizza and swimming and waiting for
I
us.
love
of
it.
it. Yep,
Right.
exactly.
So-
I love it.
Well, it's cool because I feel like there's so many, like, selfishly for us, and seeing what you guys have built and your story, and like with your business partners, everything. There's so many things. Like, both of our wives work full time,
Yeah.
and my wife will be close to 13 years. Like, we keep saying we have this gut feeling that 2026 is going to be a really big year. Like, we're still in infancy. We launched in
Oh
May.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Congratulations.
And thank you.
Yeah, that's cool.
And so we're like, okay, 2026, we feel like it's going to be a big year for us. And like, my wife will be close to 13 years at her job.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I don't know, seeing the path you guys have carved
Yeah.
is, over here is like, okay,
Yeah.
like, I
At
don't know.
35. There you go.
Thanks for
That's-
There we
reminding
go.
us.
That's the age to do it. Do it at 35, or well,
Yeah,
maybe
you
not
know,
do it. kind of the way it is.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so with that, now let's kind of jump ahead a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, the early stages of launching.
Yes. Oh boy. It was.
I barely remember those days.
We were
yeah.
we were new parents.
Yeah.
I mean, our kiddos were 1. We had not only left our jobs, but we moved to a new city
Mhm.
with infants, and we built out the brewery that we're in now. You can't see it, but adjacent over there is our original tap room, which, by the way, was illegal when we wrote our business. It wasn't part of the original business plan. Tap rooms in the state of Minnesota were illegal at the time, and thanks to the Surly bill,
Mhm.
we were able to add it in, and it was just an amazing community space.
We took $100,000 of our contingency in the entire plan, and we're like, we're going to build a tap room. And
Yeah.
So we had to redo everything and all that plan wise here to get the tap room built. But it was
So you
It's a
hadn't
no-brainer.
started anything else yet.
We hadn't started build.
we hadn't
out.
started build out yet. We entered this facility in October of 2012,
Yes.
and we opened
In
we-
May of
Yeah,
2013.
2013. We brewed our first batch of beer in April
Yes.
of 2013.
Which
The snowy year of
What was-
2013.
What was that?
Calibration IPA.
Calibration IPA, which turned
was-
into Ben Hop, and then Calibration Dark, which turned into our Black Ale.
Yeah. And when the tanks came, so the tanks behind us, when we opened, we had 2 on the hot side and we had 4 60-barrel fermenters, and now it is what you see today. But basically, we wrote a 7-year business plan, and we outgrew everything in 2 years, which
Yeah.
was awesome, but
Yeah.
we could hardly see straight because it
I
was
bet.
it was exciting.
Especially-
And everyone was so, I mean, there were 35 craft breweries in the state of Minnesota when we opened, and now there's like 200. So it's and the market's shifting again.
Yeah.
But it was like the heyday. I mean, we had a waiting list. People were like, how can we get your beer?
That was one of the hardest things to manage at the beginning was the waiting list, because everybody wanted our beer, we could only make so much. And it was just the four of us and a
one
sales guy
sales
that we had
guy.
hired.
And a
yeah,
tap room.
two taproom employees
But
that we had hired. But
we had 2 taproom employees that we hired, and one quit before we even opened. So we had our grand opening with the 4 owners and 1 taproom employee and a sales guy. The sales guy, blind faith, just said, "I'm in," before we even had liquid.
Mhm.
So he was like, "I will go sell it. We don't have it yet."
There's so many.
and he did.
There's
And he
so
did.
many similarities here.
And so we grew. By the end of the first full year, I think we had 8 employees and then 12, and we were self-distributing. So the guys, Colin and Brian, would get up and they would come in and brew. Laura and I would do all of the administrative. There's a lot of stuff,
A lot of
believe it or
bookkeeping and
not,
taxes
like
and various other things we have to
licenses
do.
and insurance and bookkeeping. And we had 12 local accounts to start, and we would literally drive the van in, load it up. Colin would deliver all of the kegs.
I remember specifically with Ben Top that first summer building pallets off the end of the canning line,
Yep.
and Colin would pull the van in, and he would load, whenever we had a completed pallet, he would load it back into the van.
And then Laura
take
and
it
I
out
Straight
and
away.
just straight
Yeah.
out, like, couldn't be any fresher. This beer is an hour
Literal-
old,
yeah.
and it's being delivered to liquor stores.
And Laura and I would deliver the cans, and Colin would deliver the kegs.
Mhm.
And we would come back and just load the van and go back out.
And I was brewing and filtering, and
And Brian did all the
Canning and
brewing
all
quickly,
that fun
and then
stuff,
we
yeah.
kind of, everybody kind of fell into.
Thinking of us and standing over massive pots, making our syrup. That a lot of it we end up making to order. Like somebody, people will put in an order for a bunch of bottles, and so he'll shoot me a message. We'll whip stuff up,
Yeah,
and
and you're
It's-
just on the fly.
it's
Yeah.
the way it
Let's
has
do
to.
it.
It's the way it has
it's
to.
like
roll.
as we're making it, it's leaving, and that's on. I mean, a significantly smaller scale, but
Yeah, but it's the same.
knowing that
Concept.
other people
It's the
also
same
were
concept.
brewing and it's gone
Mhm.
before you
Yeah.
can even like
Yep.
look at your product and be like, man, we
I
made
remember
that."
at one point specifically in August, we had been, build out was, interesting because this entire space was just an empty shell. There was
Yeah.
nothing in here, and so we had to build everything out.
Was the building here, or did you
The
guys-
building
building
was
itself
here.
was here, but it was an old warehouse. Originally, it was like a steel products
Okay.
manufacturing facility. So we had to clean it all up. We had to
we had to
saw
dig
concrete,
trench
dig big
drains
trenches.
and
All of our utilities are run through trenches to go through. put in
into
all
the road,
drains.
utilities out into the
Yep,
road.
new utilities, new electrical service, all that stuff, and build it out. So that was intense. And then, of course, you get to the point where you're starting to brew, and you're like, oh, the excitement hits. And then you realize the real work is just starting.
Yeah.
And you're already like, oh, wait a second, what the heck? And, it was also a super cold year. I remember our tanks.
Oh, 22
Our tanks
below
arrived.
without wind chill.
Yep, it was the coldest install that our brewery manufacturer had ever done.
And they're
So,
from Prince Edward
yeah.
Island, Canada.
Yep. So
They
it
said
was
this is the
install.
coldest install we've ever done.
Yep, tanks were unloaded at 22 below zero. Our first expansion we did, or a second expansion,
Yeah.
was even colder. The tanks were being brought off when it was 30 below zero outside, to the point where we actually had a tank that cracked because it's stainless.
And then him and
What's up,
I,
Randall?
we were having these stress dreams, right? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
What?
And him and I were having these repeating stress dreams that we kept having, but we hadn't told each other. And then we were like, oh my gosh, I'm having the same. And it was in the night, the legs on the fermenter slowly,
All of a sudden,
and then the whole tank,
Everything
and
would tip
liquid
over.
goes everywhere.
A horrifying dream to have.
yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
Knowing what you're doing.
So,
Yeah.
a little insight into what it's like to start something like this. Yeah, luckily, that didn't happen.
No. But I mean, that's
but-
the reality, right? You're
That's the
like,
reality of it.
you're like, gosh, I hope this goes well, and I
Yeah.
hope we do all the things we hope we're gonna do. And I mean, it's it's hard to be a small business
Mm-hmm.
owner.
Yeah. It really is. I graduated college in 2010, and I worked in corporate advertising for 11 months, and then I quit, and I've been self-employed ever since.
Okay.
So I've had a business
Yeah.
doing web design, own a screen print shop, marketing, advertising, did all that. And yeah, it's tough. And it's just really wondering, like, you know, as my wife continues to work her job and stuff, and it's like, part of me, I feel bad because I'm like, I'm trying to do this, trying to start this. Well, it's like, I don't know. So having a team around you that really like is on the same page and kind of that same vision.
That's exactly it, right? It's like, it started with 4, but we have 40 employees now. And as we grew, it was like every person we hired, we were working the same, but there was like this sense of like, oh my gosh, thank goodness they're here. We have somebody to help us. And, you know, the load lightens, but in a different way. Then you can focus more on like other things, you know.
Focus more on growth and, you know, running a healthy business, because the bigger you get, the more you realize it's not just a brewery that you're running for fun. It's actually a business, and there's a lot of money flowing through the business, and you have a lot of employees, and we need to make sure they're taken care of.
Right.
We need to make sure that we're growing responsibly, making sure that we're not making decisions that will handicap us longer term.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that becomes real quick.
Yeah. Hey, we're in this stage where we still will message each other. Like, we'll go do an event and then come home. We're like, it still feels like our wives are just like letting us play. You know, that we're playing. And I feel like it's starting now. Things like, you know, events and even our syrups are starting to become a thing, and like it's starting to feel more real. But like, how long did it take you guys? Do you feel like doing it where all of a sudden you're like, all right, like
I think
we're still waiting.
I was gonna say, I think there's been, 13 years, right? There's been ebb and flows where, depending on how the industry is doing or the team we had at that time, there were reprieves of like, oh my gosh, you know, that's when
things were about to get difficult, is right when you were like, oh, this feels good.
And I think,
that's growth overall.
I feel like the way you guys talk about it though, and kind of it's very similar to the way we've talked about like the growth side of things. Like when that time comes where we're gonna meet more people, kind of growing as a close knit, almost you're a family.
We're a family.
You're not, you know, it's gonna take longer for it to feel like a business because you're not just growing a business. You're growing a family who does business together. So
especially like the fact that we have the tap room and so much of the community comes in and shares it with us. It truly feels like it's this expansive family.
One of the absolute most rewarding days of the year, yet also one of the most terrifying days of the year, is the day before Festiversary, which is our annual anniversary party that we have in May. Commemorating our, getting another year older. Yeah. We do a bunch of beers. We have, 2,000 to 3,000 of our closest friends come. We have a bunch of music. It's held outside.
Closest friends.
2 to 3
closest friends. Yeah, exactly.
We were that was another one of those like, let's just skate by this real quick.
Exactly.
He said 1,000.
Really good at it.
I
don't
think
things.
I could actually just even make up 2,000 names
right now.
He means our paddlers.
Our paddlers,
like
our fans, our customers.
And
so we have people that travel in all over the place. It's a party that we throw. And the night before, we're setting everything up, and it's amazing to see how many former employees are here, and also how many former employees choose to help us out with Festiversary. They volunteer their time.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, can I come in? Can I help? Can I do this? Can I do that? And that's the family side of it that is unbelievably rewarding, because Bent Paddle's so much bigger than anything any of us owners have done. It's grown into something that's been built upon every single employee that has worked with us here, and so it's so much bigger than we are. And it's really cool to see that when everybody gets together and you see 25 former employees that maybe have gone to other breweries or maybe have started their own businesses because of working here, or have done tons of other things, and they get together and we're all still just having a great time. And
it's crazy to see that you can separate from a business, and like there doesn't have to be any sort of animosity.
More often than
if
not,
you treat people right, they'll come back. They'll still support the business. They'll help you out.
every once in a while you have employees that come back to work for you again as well, which is another great thing. You know,
Yeah.
that's, you know, there's some good ones
Yeah.
that have left that, you know, we really wanted back, and, you know, a year or two later they come back,
That's
That's so
which
awesome.
is cool.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll kind of. I mean, you almost even started with answering the next question. Is just like I feel like the brand is like very much a staple of up here,
Mhm.
not just Duluth, but North Shore, Minnesota in general. Like we said, we're 5 hours south,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's still very much like
I love it.
we literally push your brand to people, and it's everybody knows
Thank
what
you.
it is. Yeah. But it's very much turned into a staple. So with like the Duluth community, like how has the community itself in Duluth kind of helped shape
Yeah.
who you guys are and what the business is?
I think it's mutual, right? Like we created a space that was welcoming and supportive of the community around us. We have a pretty big charitable arm. We call it the Paddle It Forward program, and we work with some of the neighborhood businesses to give back, like whether that's in donated venue space or the ability for the community to pop up and do fundraising for nonprofits. We have like a pretty extensive raffle item
Mhm.
program. All that stuff is like giving back to the community, and then having that space for the community to come and feel like they're at home. I mean, that was always the mission, was like, let's have a family friendly, cozy place where anybody wants, you know, we have NA, we have soda, we now have hemp beverages, we have beer. And honestly, we've kind of done that even from the beginning with the
Mhm.
beer. It was like everything we've ever done, we're like, there needs to be a balance to this.
We wanted something for everybody, and that's, you know, our 4 flagships that we started with: Bent Hop, Venture Pills, Black Ale, and our Amber Ale. You know, we started those all in the first year that we were open, and we haven't cut any of them
Yeah.
because people still drink enough of them for us to keep them around.
Yeah.
Which is rare these days, I think.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot of breweries have had to change their flagships up quite a bit. We keep trying to add new ones and trying things out, experimenting and this and that, but those 4 core still make up the vast majority of
It's
our
like,
production.
you know, something for everyone. And it's the same with our community and our tap room. And
And we talking about working with nonprofits and stuff. We're, you know, being avid into the outdoors. We've done a lot of work with Cyclists So Get Your Gooey Shores, the mountain bike group up here. We did a beer, collaborated with a local company called Lowell Designs, and raised a bunch of money for trail building up here. So it was kind of eye-opening how expensive the trails are to build and maintain. We did a couple years of a beer called Lollygagger, and raised between matching
Right.
$20,000 $20,000.
Well,
I
and
think,
now
over a
we're
couple
in a
years.
totally different.
Yeah. Totally different
spot.
space. But it was interesting. It's like, oh, we raised all this money, how many miles of trail can this build? And it was like 2. We're like, oh, we were
Which-
thinking it'd be this like big huge trail that was made and all this,
This is
and
a
it was
50
like,
miler.
Well,
luckily
and-
a lot of the
yeah.
money went to one of the trails that was near our house, the Westchester Trail. It's a really cool trail, and we rode it, numerous times a week while we lived in our old house. But just trying to be engaged with the community and realize that you need to be a good neighbor in order to be successful. And so that's why we really tried to stay
Yeah.
engaged with the local community as much as we
But
can.
also,
So
like,
significantly
local-
more than just a beer producer.
That's
Oh,
how
very
we
much so,
feel.
yeah. That's how we
And
feel.
and it's like you said it one way so great. I don't remember how you said it. Like Duluth goes with people when they drink our beer. You know what I mean? Like you come up to Duluth. Duluth is locals, yes, but we have several tourists that come every year, and so when they come up, hopefully they'll stop in and then they'll remember us and they'll have a great time, and then they'll seek us out all over.
Yeah, they'll find our beer in the liquor stores when they go back
And you
home.
can kind of like
and then they can try
relive
it, and
that.
they'll relive their experience in
Yeah.
Duluth. So that's the way we looked at it. Exporting Duluth is basically the way we-
Exporting Duluth.
Exporting to, I like that a lot because it's
Yeah.
even from the hotel here. I have a buddy that we grew up in where we live now. He and I grew up together, played sports together. His brother lived up here,
Okay.
and then he ended up moving up here. Still lives here now, and he had said it's one of those things like once you get up there and you like get invested into the community.
Yeah.
He's like it's one of those things that I feel like for people that have never been.
Yeah.
they look at Duluth, they look at cold specifically.
Cold. Yep.
And it's like, I don't know how people could do that in being so cold
Yeah.
and up and away. But like Kyle had summed it up perfect. He's just like, once you're here, you just don't want to go anywhere.
Well, and it's true, right? Like, it is colder here, but not much. And people are hardy. It's so neat. Like, we're like winter warriors. And even our 13-year-old, he went to a nature-based preschool, and he was taught at the age of 3, there's no bad weather, just the wrong clothes.
The wrong clothes.
Real close. That's what it is.
I
My
mean-
youngest, the Menace,
Yes.
she went to Outdoor Adventures for preschool.
Okay.
And she is, she
No
went to
matter-
an outdoor preschool.
Yes.
She's fine. It doesn't matter
Yes.
what it is outside.
Even when it
she's
was
fine.
25 below zero outside, they would spend the time to get all bundled up. They'd go outside, and they'd be outside for 5 minutes, do a couple things, and then they'd come back in, take everything off, and it was just an exercise in getting, ingrained in them that you can do this. You can be outside when it's super cold. You got to be safe.
Yeah.
You got to prepare for
Yeah.
it. But
Yeah.
it's it was a cool
We
thing.
also
and so-
have a lovely, lovely fall and summer. Spring
Yes.
is quick, but oh my goodness, there's so much to do. And a funny story. I do HR, and so in an interview once, I had someone say, "Do you have to be outdoorsy to work here?"
I do remember that.
And I said, "No, of course not. We just simply love it's just a respect thing."
Of course,
But
I'm like, well, it helps.
a lot of people here, they mountain bike, they ski, they
They canoe, they
snowshoe, they fish, they hunt. It's just it's all
And
encompassing.
And that's one of the things up here. It's a little bit harder life because of the climate, especially, my roughest time is in the spring when, we go down to visit her family in the Twin Cities and it's 70, 75 degrees and it's still 40 up here.
And you still got
Leaves aren't
feet
out
of-
on the
feet of
trees
snow.
and we're like, oh. But then, summer begins and it's beautiful and you learn to appreciate that. But, in the winter months, living in the Twin Cities for quite a few years, I had a harder time because there isn't as much to do outside. And the snow tends to become a little bit more brown and there's less of it. And, listen, I've always been a lover of winter. And up here, we get enough snow and the snow stays fresh enough usually. 2 winters ago,
Brian
it's a different
loves the
story.
winter.
I love the winter. And, going
Especially a
skiing
true
and
winter.
snowshoeing.
He
true
literally,
winter,
when we
like,
I
first
love it.
started dating, he was like, "You just need to embrace all the cool things you can do and for goodness sake, get wool socks and
outside.
better long
Yeah,
underwear."
I feel like most people that actually truly hate winter, it's because they don't have the right gear
Yeah.
to go out with.
for sure.
Like myself, I love the outdoor. I'll be outside. It's fine, but until when were we up in Union?
Just
Last week.
a week ago, 2 weeks ago, maybe.
During the
So
cold
I have
snap?
I have never owned
it was cold.
a really nice winter coat.
That
Like I
changes
have
everything.
winter coats.
Yeah.
But my nice one for the last 2 years has been the thin
Yeah,
North
tough,
Face.
yeah.
It
It's
looks
a little
nice.
puff. Yeah, it's classy looking, right? But
But are
I've
you
never
warm?
really had an actual
That should
nice
be one
winter
of 4
coat.
layers.
So
And
did
I
you
got
get
a
one?
nice Columbia
Good
in
for
the cities,
you.
and we got hit with snow in Albert Lee, and I went out to shovel, and I was like, now
Yeah.
I'm too hot. And all I was wearing was a t-shirt and my coat.
Yes.
Yep.
This is incredible. Everybody, get a winter coat.
Get a nice winter
that's
coat.
meant for winter,
Right?
and you'll love it.
There's
It's
no
Right?
bad weather. It's
incredible.
just bad clothing.
And you were
Yeah,
working.
100%.
You
It's
were working
insane.
for it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know my brother's always he's a avid biker and he lives in the cities and mountain bikes and fat bikes and he's always wearing something that I'm like, how can you're going to be freezing? And he's like, no, because I'm going to be biking and you heat up. And him and Brian always say, you have to start cold.
If you're not freezing when you start a fat bike ride, you're overdressed.
Yeah, which is, so every time we go fat biking, we have to stop about a mile in and because I'm overheating. Yeah, we're totally off topic.
Yeah. I get that because we military side going on a ruck march.
Yeah.
You especially your lower enlisted. The Joes don't know how far you're going, but
Okay.
they know it's cold out right now. So you got guys that they're throwing on their waffle bottoms, their waffle tops,
Yeah.
then their smoker's jacket, and then their blouse, and then their winter coat over the top
They're
of
gonna
that.
be cooked.
I'm like, guys, look at every one of us NCOs. You see how we're wearing a t-shirt and a blouse?
Yep.
as soon as we
It's
get
the
going,
same
these guys
concept.
are trying to rip stuff off while we're walking.
That would be me.
I mean, I was that guy at one point. I put
Yeah.
on too much gear
I
and then
know.
instantly overheating as soon as you start
Yeah.
doing any activity. But
Yeah, I skied a lot growing up, and I also played hockey, and we had an outdoor rink. And so, I was also a goalie, and so I was like just standing there a lot. The better our team was, the more I was just standing there.
Hey, all
And
right.
so, I learned to be outdoors
Yeah.
quite a bit as a kid.
That's all. Bringing it back a little bit with you talking about the fall. We were just up here about a month ago, and we brought my 2 little girls. It was their first time here,
Oh, fun.
and so we did like gooseberry. We went all the way up,
Yeah.
and there's nothing like
Wasn't it beautiful?
fall down. Even where we are is like you have a small window where it's really pretty. Otherwise,
Yeah.
I feel like everything gets brown very
Yep.
quick. But up here it was just another world. And if
That's awesome.
any of you guys have never really truly been up here in the fall,
Yeah.
as somebody who just did it, it is heaven.
It's so
You almost have
beautiful.
2 falls up here. You have the fall away from the lake, where all the colors come out early, and then the leaves fall off. But then down near the lake, a lot of the times, just where all the maples are, you'll end up having a second kind of boom of color, which is really cool to see. And so
Right.
it's one of the many reasons we love it in this
Yeah.
area.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons.
Oh
we
my
moved here.
gosh.
That's
Yeah.
so awesome. Been to kind of biggest challenge, biggest reward. We'll start with challenge.
Mhm.
And so the biggest challenge with growing bent paddle, not just regionally, but like you said, you do some stuff outside of here.
Yep.
Yeah.
So just, the biggest challenge of doing this.
I think overall, we've gone through a few, pretty large growth phases as a company. One of them was, 2016 through 2018, where we did our largest kind of growth phase, where we doubled, tripled, quadrupled our production during that stage. And that was financially, it was easy-ish to do because the numbers made sense. I think at that stage, the hardest thing was just how taxing it was, expanding so much year after year on us, but also our employees. Trying to manage how complex communication gets.
Yeah.
You triple the amount of employees you have, and communication becomes an issue. You
Yeah.
can't use the same systems, and so we've had to build out a bunch of communication systems so everybody can be in the loop. We're also working with so many different vendors, and cash management becomes a lot more important
Yeah.
and everything on the business
That's a
side.
great point.
And so that was kind of the first okay, we need to. That's where I talked about earlier about being a well-run business. You need to start concentrating more on running the business, not just the fun side. Which I've been a brewer for 25 years. The fun side for me is recipe development and process. We've got the process down. That was never the hard part.
Yeah.
It's all the other stuff that comes with it to make sure that everybody has the tools to get the stuff done.
And be
that they need
successful.
done.
Yeah.
To be
And
successful.
everybody on the same page.
Yep.
And plus,
exactly.
we were all doing all the things. So we kind of hit this point where it was like, well, who's doing what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we had grown and things had changed, and we had different needs. And so we we actually enlisted the help of like a business coach, and she was just amazing at helping us kind of not start again, but say, all right, let's like get back to the basics
refocus a
here,
little bit,
and
yeah.
what is the focus, and what is your mission, and who is doing what, and like what is, you need to work on your business, not just in it,
Yeah.
to grow it. And so it was neat. We definitely, it was hard for us though, because all 4 of the owners were not just owners. We were doing daily jobs. And so it was like, well, who is in charge of this? And do you have a team under you? And do they know what they're doing? And
For me specifically,
systems and SOPs and
I'm a brewer, and I have been for a long time.
Yeah.
So I just happen to own Bent Paddle. So you can't really take the brewer out of me. And so it's hard for me to let certain things go on production because I'm still just so production minded when it comes to stuff. And so our business coach definitely helped kind of point out a few things where like, Brian, you need to be pulled out of the trenches occasionally so you can think about something other than.
But I
exactly
hate to
what's
say
going
it,
on.
13, we're still very much
Yeah,
in the
we're
trenches.
still very much in the
Probably
trenches.
more now than ever. Which maybe leads us into your question of like, what what has probably been the biggest challenge, and that would be COVID.
Yeah.
When we wrote our business plan, nobody said, "Hey, guess what? In the middle of your business, you will face a pandemic."
It was in the investment documents. It was in the fine
It did
print
actually-
as a threat.
National
Global pandemic
yeah.
was in the fine print, as a threat. But did we have a plan? No.
And that was, it shook us to the
Yeah.
core. I mean, we lost like 50% of our business overnight, because bars and restaurants and stadiums and
our tap room.
our tap room.
Yeah.
And we were, prior to the pandemic, we were set up in a pretty good mix. You, as a brewery, you make a little bit more money on draft beer than you do on package because of the cost of all the packaging products and labor for packaging and everything. And we were about 55% draft beer at that stage. And so, to lose all of that instantly was, there were some moments in which we were like, how are we going to do this?
Yeah.
Luckily there was, a decent amount of federal help that came through, state help and stuff. But, navigating that while trying to keep employees, using that money to keep employees around, because we wanted to keep our, production taproom staff and sales staff intact, because we knew that eventually things would open up again.
And they
Yeah.
did.
We didn't want to start off with a new team, as we were saying before.
They
we're
opened
like a
up, and then
family.
it was like
So,
6 feet apart and to go only, and people, the community showed up. I mean, they were
That's
absolutely supportive. We maintained like over probably 85% of our staff during that time.
That's impressive.
I feel like that's a kind of a huge statement to you guys and how you've run things, though, is that everybody showed back up.
Yeah.
Like the community showed up. Like there's a lot of businesses that didn't
Feel
make
that
it.
or make it.
But and not saying that all those businesses were bad businesses.
No, it just
But you guys are running in a way where everybody's like, no, we're going to go back there.
I mean,
It
at the
was
end of the day,
incredible.
none of us, we couldn't do what we do without our employees.
Yeah,
So
they're literally
they're our greatest strength
best.
is a good core, chunk of employees. And the last thing we wanted to do is lose them during the pandemic. Because if they've been around longer and we know them and we know how to work with them and we know each other, the more we can work together on collaborating to get out of, out of.
We have a lot of, out of the
if you will.
40 some employees we have, probably over 20 are 5 years or longer. Some are 10, 11, 12 years,
years
right
old.
along
See,
with
the
us.
hospitality, like being hospitality background, like that's so rare.
Yeah.
It is so rare. There's one, I think we might have talked about it in an earlier episode. For a while, I worked with the Paris Soleil restaurant group. the
Oh,
Twin
yeah.
Cities.
Yep.
And so one of their restaurants was like my home base for 9 years. But they have a couple restaurants that they had opened where they had like back of house dishwashing staff.
Yeah.
Cooks that were 20, 22,
Yep.
23 years. And that's
Wow.
the only other time I've ever seen that.
That's awesome.
And it's so rare, it's so easy in this industry specifically, and maybe others, I don't know. This is the one I've
Yeah.
worked in,
Yeah.
but it's so easy for people to be like, I'm gonna go somewhere. I'm gonna go to a different tap room. I'm gonna go work at a different brewery.
Yeah.
But that, to reiterate your point, that's such a testament,
Yeah.
I feel like, to how you guys have
We
run
have
it.
we have a great team. But yeah, there was a lot of pivoting, and we were like, what do we do?
We were
And
talking
nobody
about,
knew.
We were talking about releasing a beer called Pivot Pit Whale at one point in time. We were just like,
And then,
what are we
and then
gonna do
somebody,
now? I have no idea.
somebody brought up the Friends episode where he's got the couch. So we did. We pivoted. Thank goodness. I mean, it's a hard thing, right, to think about, like, hope people drink beer still.
Yeah, right.
But that's our business. And thank goodness liquor stores were deemed essential.
Mhm.
And so that helped a lot because, like he said, we used to be about 50-50, and then cans jumped up to 65% of all the things that we were
I
selling.
think we're sitting around 70% cans right now.
Currently,
Versus
so
draft, yeah, because draft never quite came all the way back from where it was.
But
and
you
that-
have to think about why, right? It's like the world changed, supply chain issues. People started working remotely, so they weren't going into a city or going out for lunch.
Go
or
to the
maybe
office and
go
go
to the
happy hour.
office or go somewhere on the way home. And so that just changed a little. And so we've had to change with that and with consumer habits changing. 2018, the Farm Bill passed, and then in
It was late 2022, I think.
we started making hemp beverages. The state of Minnesota basically has led the way over the last 2 years specifically on like labeling guidelines and safety protocol and making sure things are, we stand by our product, as do you, all natural, never synthetic, hemp,
Yep.
working with local growers and local emulsion
Farmers and
suppliers.
processors. Yeah.
And so hemp, that's probably been the biggest unexpected. We started a brewery. We didn't know we were going to be doing that.
We never thought we'd be making beverages like this. My college self may have hoped, but never thought we'd be making beverages like this. And so the opportunity came across to use some of our extra capacity, which was a big opportunity back a few years ago, and so we started producing some beverages for other people as well, and so we were able to fill out some of our production capacity, and we continue to do that.
Yeah, so we do beer, we do our own hemp beverages, and now we do contracting. But and it's about 40% of all the things we sell now.
The contracting stuff.
Yeah,
All
the
hemp.
the hemp side of things.
Yeah. So, and then anyway, another recent challenge would probably be the hemp ban that's looming for us and so many other Minnesota businesses.
Yeah, as part of the bill to get the U.S. government back open, they slipped in a little bill that would ban hemp basically
at the federal
on the federal level across the entire country. And so we're a small part of a very large industry. I mean, it's a $24 billion industry, 300,000 plus jobs in the
across
country
the nation
that are now on a ticking clock. We have 1 year.
Let's say it's the end of 2026,
1 year runway.
in November.
Yeah. So 1 year from November,
Yeah.
Everything will be banned across the board.
Unless it changes.
Unless we can work something out on the federal side. And so we're doing everything we can. We're talking to. I've had a lot of conversations with people I never thought I'd talk to.
Yeah.
A lot of politicians, a lot of phone calls. And so.
And we have one of our directors, Pepin, he has been just instrumental in helping us navigate the entire hemp space for the last several years. He is one of our longest employees and sits at the director level. And so for years he did tap room. He was the director of tap room, but he's become more of a broad director doing innovation and helping
innovation and new business.
Sustain new business for us. So he's leading the charge, and we're just so lucky to have him. But yeah, it's all hands on deck. We're just doing what we can with what we can, and thank goodness, like our wholesalers. So we kind of didn't talk about that. We talked about self-distributing at first. But we have multiple distributors because at some point you just can't do it by yourself. And so we're in Minnesota, Wisconsin primarily, and then a little sliver of the UP,
and North Dakota.
We're
not forgetting about you, North Dakota.
Yeah.
I promise.
So, but just navigating those relations, like we said during the break, which the viewers didn't hear, but everything's all about relationships, and that's with the community and our employees and our wholesalers and our sales team and the retailers, and people just, that's the connection. It's beyond just like a product. They want a human connection to the brand and the people.
The trust.
The trust.
Yeah.
The trust has good quality, the trust that it's made by actual people.
Yeah, right.
Which is,
we're just people
I feel like that's
hard.
it. So at some point, that's going to be a disclaimer that
Well,
you
I
have to
know.
have on stuff that
I
an
know.
actual human
Which
made this product.
blows my mind.
Well, our 13-year-old is always like, Mom, that's AI. It is? It looks so real.
So there's, especially on social media right now, it's so hard to.
It's an
It's
AI
scary.
explosion.
Yeah, right.
I get a kick out of it. I watch AI cat videos. So I think it's pretty hilarious.
Disclaimer. I'm going to my happy place.
I'll be chuckling in the corner like, what are you looking at? I'm like,
Anyway.
you gotta see this.
I know, right? I do feel like I want to say that no matter all the good and all the challenges, it's like we have learned so much.
Oh yeah.
Like I wouldn't I really probably wouldn't trade any of it.
At the end of the day, I mean, I couldn't see myself doing anything but this.
Yeah.
We love it.
Even at the end of the day, I mean, we're in the middle of a pretty rough part, in our company history and stuff. We're navigating a lot of things that we never thought we'd have to navigate. But at the end of the day, I still love my job.
Mhm.
I love the people we work with. I love seeing people come into the tap room, enjoying our product. That was one of the things at the very beginning is, I started off as a brewer and a bartender. And so talking to people one-on-one that were enjoying product that I made and getting that instant feedback and seeing joy when
Oh
they
my
try
gosh.
something that I made for the first time,
Yeah.
that's what it's all
It's
about.
That's
so
the best.
cool.
Like, that is the absolute
best
Isn't it
feeling.
great?
It is.
There's nothing.
I
That's
know.
something you guys can understand.
Yeah, very
It is
much.
just like,
because you
Yeah,
made
sometimes
it.
I feel like I have to actively tell myself to look away, close your mouth, because my wife gets mad. Like, I'll make food,
Yeah.
and she'll go to try it, and I'm like,
How do you like it?
well, she's taking that bite, and
are
I'll
you
catch
okay?
myself doing it. We'll be at an event,
Yeah.
and somebody will be so particular. The event we just did, there was a Cosmo.
They
and
might be watching.
was one of their drinks, and the lady came up and she was like, Cosmo was her thing.
Yep.
And so I made one for her, and as she was drinking it, I felt myself standing there staring at her, and I was like,
How
That's
do you
why they no longer
waiting
allow
for her to
do
tell me
samples.
that it was
Yes,
good.
right? But
But it's
what
such
a
a
great
good feeling
validation.
when somebody likes
Loves
it.
it. I know. We have one of our oldest, not oldest, but longest employees, Neil.
Mhm.
He's our pilot brewer, and he started here, and then is
Yeah,
the
he
pilot
does all
brewer
the
over
all the
there.
specialty beers over in the tap room.
And I
All
think
pilots
he
and stuff.
feels that because people there's certain beers that you can only get, anything he makes you can only
Mhm.
get over at the tap room, and people go nuts. He's
That's so cool.
just
yeah.
incredibly talented. But I think he feels that too.
Yep.
How's this one gonna be accepted? Do people love it?
Yeah, he started here. He was working over at Twin Ports Brewing Company. It was called Thirsty Pagan at the time, so the same place I started.
Yeah.
But he was working over there doing some stuff, and then got a job here doing tours. That's how things started, and then.
But as a brewer,
and then bartending, and then moved into cleaning kegs.
he's
and
just.
just
We
kinda
have.
rolled
I
into
mean, we
production
could
units.
tell you about every single one of
Yeah.
our employees and how awesome they are and what they bring to the team. We don't have enough time, but yeah,
That's
We've
just
got some
another thing, though.
stories.
That
that's just another
just
thing.
another
right?
testament to you guys.
Oh,
and,
I love that.
How you are as people and business owners. That you can tell us the story of
Yeah.
each of your employees.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
That's unreal.
yeah. Well, and I
that doesn't
think-
happen often.
No.
We've lived it. It doesn't happen often.
Sometimes I wish we knew less.
No.
In a good way. In a good way.
Well, I was gonna say one of the fun things I think that happened was the tap room, right? Like, we opened the tap room and people showed up, and we started having to open up the glass doors and have people in this space on
Mhm.
Fridays and Saturdays and Sundays, and then pretty soon Brian was like, we need to brew beer here. We can't,
Yeah,
because
it's like,
we couldn't
you can't-
fit everybody.
You
We
can't
went
let
from
go
a
of one
50,
production day, so.
yeah, we went from like a 50-person tap room, and then we happened to go into the building we're in now, and hopefully you can pop over there after, but and it was just the most magnificent building, and you would have never known it from the outside. And Kestrel Aircraft was there, and they had moved out. It was vacant. There
Mhm.
was
They had a 3D printer in the back, and they had a
like a
mock-up
fabrication.
of a fuselage of one of their planes, because they were trying to be one of the first personalized jets,
It was
just like
cool.
Cirrus did.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
actually the other Klapmeyer brother. So don't want to go into that story.
The airplane brother.
So they were doing all sorts of R&D and building of things over there. So
But Laura and I went over there one day to get, Brian said, hey, can you run over and grab this special drain cover that they fabricated for us? Sure. And we walked in, and it was like,
That one right there?
there it is. And
Good looking
we sat in the fake airplane, and her and I were like, this place is amazing, and it's right down there. Okay. Awkward silence. Which you can't see right now, but the office of this space is what?
Oh,
400 square feet?
not even.
Okay. Tiny.
200
So-
square feet maybe.
There were 8 people officing in a tiny room, and it was
Here.
also our break room and our bathroom.
And there was no AC.
And there was no AC.
And of course, it gets hot in the brewery in the summer. So
Yeah.
it was.
Brian was like, I can't even. I'm
I
just gonna
stopped-
work in
I
the
stopped
tap
working
room
there, so
or-
I would come in, I'd mash in early morning, do a little bit of work in the office, and then everybody else would show up.
Yeah.
I'd finish my brewery work, and then I'd go work somewhere else. 'cause I
It
couldn't-
was so
it's so-
crowded. I mean,
just-
you would be
so much going
hitting
on.
someone next to you as you were typing, and we were like, "Let's office over at this beautiful space." And then Brian said,
I walked in.
"Well,
and I'm
what
like,
if we move the tap room?" Wait, what? And
Yeah.
it just kind of blew our minds, and we were like, "Can we do that? Is that a thing?" And then we.
Like, we need to build another brewery.
So in the state of Minnesota, you can have as many production facilities as you want, but you can only have one tap room, and it has to be connected to a production facility. So Brian said, well, let's get a pilot brewery, and then we'll have really cool, like, one-off specialty beers in the tap room, and we'll move the tap room.
Basically, I was like, let's build the brewery I've always wanted for myself.
Yeah.
And then we'll have somebody else, Neil, run it.
But
That's a
it's
great idea,
it's
though.
also like an education piece. So the brewers here can sometimes go over there and play around instead of. I mean, they love making these, and we have specialty beers that release.
Yeah, we usually have one beer on over there that somebody from the production team heads over and brews with Neil's, and we'll bring packaging team over, and they'll be able
It's
to
just
kind of
neat.
learn how to work grain to glass, to see how the entire process works. Because
Yeah.
the more everybody that works here sees how everything on every stage of the process works, the more forgiving they will be when things go wrong.
You're right.
Because it's a brewery, things go wrong occasionally.
Yeah.
So
Occasionally.
So do you guys ever like?
Equipment breaks right when you don't want it to.
happens all the time.
So do you guys ever like essentially pilot products that
Yes,
way? To where
very
it's
much
like now
so.
you have a built-in pilot area.
Absolutely.
Yep.
To where all of a
So
sudden it's like, holy shit,
Yeah.
that's
So-
really a sold.
yeah,
Yeah.
before we had that, everything we did here was, we did full batches, and so I would think
Oh my gosh.
I was
Good
that was
catch.
good.
Sorry.
Good catch.
Um,
Only had one.
I would, the way my recipe process works is, I think of the beer that I want to create. I have the whole experience in my head before I create it, and then I look at the raw materials we have or get to, and I do resources, or I check out a bunch of resources on stuff, and then I build it. And so it's a little bit opposite than the way some other people do the recipe development side. And so I was doing that, but on a much larger scale. So it's like, all right, the smallest batch size we can do is 60 barrels or 100.
And Neil does this too. They
Yeah,
both.
Neil does
It's
it
like
too.
they're geniuses. A funny.
You can cut that, but
Well, I'm thinking of a funny story when we first opened, and Laura and I were like, what do you mean you're not going to do a test batch of the Pilsner, right?
Yep.
Because we had released the hop and the black, and then the Pilsner was next. And Laura and I were just baffled. Like, we're going to just brew a thing and sell it without seeing if we like it first? And he was just 100% confident. Yep, I know
I was
exactly
like, I
what
now know exactly how the brew house works. Like it's,
It just-
I've brewed on many different breweries.
I was like,
so
could you make a
I know
cake?
how it works. I know how to dial it in. I already basically know the recipe.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, let's just do it. And I did. I brewed a 60 barrel batch, and then we brewed another 60 barrel batch. So in case
Blended.
things weren't quite 100% where we wanted, we could blend.
Yeah.
But it just started to make sense.
That's so cool. That's awesome.
So, which is kind of the way things rolled until we got the pilot brewery.
Yeah.
And now we can do smaller batches, and we can
Yeah.
do a little bit more R&D,
Test trials.
which was really important when it came to our light lager. We put more work into developing that beer than some of the other ones that we had.
How many we
because
had? 8
I think 8 different renditions.
trials that Neil
trials,
and
this
Brian
one?
worked on this. Yeah.
Yep, Neil and I worked on that a lot, and
Because
it's
most people don't
It's a different
realize
type of
it's the
process.
hardest beer to make because
Mhm.
it's so light. There's
Yeah.
nothing. There's not like roasted malt or hoppy character
it's nothing
to.
to hide behind.
Yeah.
And so any production flaw that happens on the brew house, whether it's pH, you run off a little bit too much, this and that, yeast health, overall pH during fermentation, our blend down regimen, all that stuff. it can mess the beer up super quick. And so it just took us a lot of,
It took a lot of
trials
trial, but we were super proud
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah, this is one, like, obviously we talked to you guys
Yeah.
about it, and I think these guys, any viewers that are coming back have heard before,
Yeah,
but like, this was one that we ran on tap at a restaurant we were at,
I love it.
and a lot of people in our area, I feel like, are very much like, I want a Busch Light or I want
Yep.
a Coors Light,
Of
and
course.
that's it.
Yeah.
And you can try to sell them anything else, and then it's just, nope, I want that.
Yep.
And when we first had got this on, was like, people would order it, and then it was like, it was a part of us managing and like instilling in staff of, somebody orders one,
Try it.
just bring them a taster and let them try it.
I love it.
And
Thank you.
I
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
great.
know that there is ever, I know I didn't, I never had an experience where I had somebody try it and then
Say-
they're like, no, I'll
Yeah.
it's good, but I'll stay with this.
Yeah.
Every single person was like, yeah, absolutely. I'll
I
do
love that, and I do feel like, I mean, we've done it for fun, like with our family, but a blind tasting up against all the big guys. I mean, I think it stands in
I
there.
think it's right there.
Yeah.
Absolutely it does.
And the main reason we made this beer is because I was sick of drinking other people's light beer. I don't judge when it comes to beer. I like light beer.
Yeah.
Sitting in a garage.
A lot
right
of
now.
brewers do. You
Yeah.
can only drink, like, we absolutely love all
Light
the
beer and
hops
rosé.
and all the roasty, malty, yummy sours and all the things. But at
Yeah,
some
there's only
point,
so much you can drink.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
it's like a palate cleanser.
Yeah.
That's funny because sometimes we'll go to beer fests and we'll have the lineup and then we'll be like, palate cleanser.
And I think a lot of people, even like, don't even put with craft breweries. I think a lot of people don't even really think about a light beer.
No.
When most people, like, especially as just consumers, think about craft brewery,
Yeah.
you instantly go to like heavy hop,
Yep.
malt,
Yeah.
that type of thing. So to have one where even if, the people that order a regular domestic and you let them, try it, I think that's just
think
cool
it's-
because you don't see it a lot.
Well, what's funny is the old sound. You'd be like, hey. So
Oh, yeah.
in the old tap room, this was the furniture, which was neat. And everything's reclaimed wood from an old timber company. And no matter what, once a day at least, a chair would tip over and the team would be like, hey, and everybody would social cheers.
The chairs are very back heavy, and so you hit them a little bit. I almost want to make the sound.
I noticed when I
Maybe
first
we'll
sat
end
down,
on
yeah.
I went like that,
Yeah.
and the camera was rolling, or I think the camera.
Yeah.
was rolling.
Well, maybe at the
I
end
hope not,
we'll
because I
tip
know
one
my
over.
face was.
Any of our
I
any of
almost
our
went-
regulars from the old tap room
Yeah, if they-
would hear that and be like,
Yay! I know, right? Well, and that's full circle to like one of those fun moments where in 2018 we moved to the new tap room, and that was a long way to get there. But it's been so great. We can accommodate like way more people. We have food trucks and live programming and a yard now. It's just
yeah, we were able to get the city to relinquish a street, and so we made it into basically a
green
music
space and
green
a
space
stage.
for music and a stage and all
And
that
kids
stuff,
run
so.
around and
Yeah.
everyone's happy.
Yeah, I think the approach of like having kids run around, like people being able to be like, all right, as a family, we're going to go.
Yes.
Even
Yeah,
so
sure.
when we came in, we parked in that parking lot and
Okay.
walked through and
Yeah.
then walked across.
Yeah.
And I think there was 4 or 5 different families in there right now
Yep.
playing games and
Yeah.
having that.
It's just essential. Like we built it out and we had kids and our people on our team have kids, and it's the number one question we get like via email or phone is, hey, can we bring kids there? Yes, please do.
Yeah.
I mean, we actually had at the beginning, we actually had this like,
Yeah, you can't.
as we were like setting stuff up
Had,
here
like, a-
before we were operating, we actually had this big, huge kind of pen sort of thing.
Remember the old
We'd set up here,
playpen?
The old
Yeah, oh, yeah.
playpens?
Yeah,
we had a
grew up
mobile
with
one
Yeah.
that we set
We're
up
still
here, and our
alive.
kids would hang out and play, while we're, cleaning and try to dial stuff up. At a time, it's never while production's going on, but
The
it
kids
was,
are like
kids are like,
not well production,
no.
high ocean.
Yeah.
So kind of with that, like what's the approach that you guys have? Do you have a specific one that really setting that up, being like to be family friendly
Mhm.
and letting people know or almost like welcoming in the kids, the families?
I think design-wise, I mean, we designed a specific area where kids could be comfortable, that would be safe. Designed our outdoor space to have areas where kids would be comfortable, but also designed it to have an area where, say the kids are in their space, parents are kind of nearby. There was enough separation where we could have people that didn't want to be around kids as well. So we wanted to separate out the different areas of the tap room. But overall, we just wanted it to basically be the living room that none of us could afford.
I love that.
So we built the living room we all wanted for everybody else to enjoy.
Yeah.
Well, and the neat thing is, like, there's, like you said, there's lots of little nooks. So there's the fireplace and the barrel room and the back room and then the kids area, and music has been.
It's been huge.
I mean, music has grown so much. We do a ton of live music now. The stage is triple the size.
Well, and that's so cool, especially up here.
It's so
I feel
fun.
Like, yeah.
Like last night, we had a Pert Near Sandstone ticketed show, which we've never done, and it was.
That's the first ticketed show you've done?
First or second. I think we may have done another
I
ticket.
know, I'm trying to think about it, but
it's something we normally don't do.
no,
but,
free, all
on
ages.
Thursday nights we tend to be a little bit slower, and so
Mhm.
we have to do a ticket.
And because we offer like soda and NA and mocktails and things that you don't need to be 21.
Yeah.
All the music and programming is all ages,
Mm-hmm.
so that we can be inclusive and more people can come in.
We just wanted to be kid friendly because we had kids. I mean,
it makes sense, though.
Well,
we
and
understand.
in traveling, I mean, how many trips did we go on to other states and other breweries? Because that's what you do. When you own a brewery, you go visit other breweries.
Yeah.
And so many were like, no, you can't. And our kiddo, goes so many places.
Yeah, out east specifically.
Yeah.
When we were out there,
Like, really?
stopped into a
You
few
can't go?
places, and
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, kids aren't
Why?
allowed." And our kid at the time was like probably 7 or
Anyway.
8. He's like, "We own a brewery." It's like,
Yeah, my son he has Mustache Mixology hats,
Yes.
shirts and stuff. And he wears his Mustache Mixology hat to school every single day, unless he's wearing his Bass.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the Bass Pro Shop.
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise, he's wearing the Mustache Mixology
And do the
hat,
kids
and he
know?
loves to talk about.
Do the kids know
bartending.
what Dad does?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're like mini bartenders. So like when we're making stuff, they'll try it and hang out with
Yeah.
us. And depending on where we're at, we'll do. We did a rugby tournament and slung mocktails and
Yes.
hydration drinks. We
That's
make our own,
great.
essentially a clean Gatorade.
Yep.
And so we were slinging those, but like my son got to help out.
heck
So
That's
we
so fun.
understand that
Yes.
100%.
Yeah.
Like, no, if you want this, like you get all of it.
Yeah,
Like,
everything.
all of this.
like,
Yeah.
There's a chance my
And
kids
then
are
at
gonna
the
be
end,
there.
you're going to help clean up
Yeah.
and pack the car.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, actually, we even did. My daughter, this summer, we actually like set our bar up in our porch, and it was like a cowgirl themed birthday party.
Cute.
And so his son hid all the gold coins all over our backyard, and all of the girls went and found gold coins, and they could turn them in for mocktails.
Cute.
Yeah, it's kind of like
So we set
the
up
old
and
school
just-
dropping the sack
Yeah.
of coins.
Oh, yeah.
Bartender.
Yeah.
Bartender.
It's not a shot of
Bring me a
whiskey.
drink.
It's
Cute.
Yeah.
So are your kids friends? They're friends?
Yeah.
Oh, I
they're
love that.
Very, very close. And it was really cool because even for us, like, I remember I interviewed him and came in for the interview, and then like by the end of it, I remember he had left, and I remember just being like I vibe with this guy. I like this guy.
I don't know that there was more than 3 questions asked.
No,
It was more so just we sat at a table and
Yes.
joked around for
Yeah.
a while.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And then he would throw in like a standard interview question. I'd answer it in a couple seconds,
You're
and then
like-
we'd go right back to
side
it.
quest again.
Yeah.
And it was
Yes,
like-
I am a loyal employee.
And then it was our kids did the same thing. I remember there's a park. We live like 6 houses away from each other.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh, heck yeah.
And
That's
Yeah, there's
convenient.
there's a park
a
in the middle.
handful of houses, and then I guess the corner house, and then he's right there. So
Okay.
And right around the corner house is a park. And so I think the first time all of our girls were hanging out, his son wasn't there, but all the girls are running around the park. And then I my wife was there, and I think I had happened to be driving by and stopped at the park, and I was like, all right, guys, we got to get going. And all of a sudden, they're all hugging each other. And, like, first time they hung out. So we're like, all right.
You're like, all
Fast-
right,
our
this may
youngest-
work. This may work.
His youngest and my youngest are the word menace is frequently used for those
He
two.
loves you.
And
Yeah, very
when
much.
those
Very
two,
much
they are together often. We
Aw.
teach at their homeschool co-op, and those two they'll be right next to each other, but they beef all the time. And then so we'll be like, like my daughter Reagan, I'll be like, Reggie, why don't you go sit over here?
Reagan and
No.
Reggie.
I want to sit next to Sophia. Then stop fighting about
Stop
everything.
fighting.
Like
It's
they're best friends.
No
And
lock arms.
when they realize though
Cute.
that, hey, wait a minute,
Yeah.
you do menace things too?
Uh-oh.
Me
Then
too.
you guys are both in
Like
trouble.
we're taking over.
Start scheming. It's gonna be
Yes.
over.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then you're really gonna have to
Oh,
look
that's gonna
out.
be awesome.
Yeah,
Oh
It-
boy.
it's a good time though. Yeah, we.
That's so great. You
And then the
guys.
wives too. Like it was kind of just like, you meet somebody. Like, do we just become best friends? Went and did karate in the garage for a while, and then we're hoping
Nice.
that, well, now our wives have to be friends though.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like my wife has had friends, and I hope every one of you men watch this and hear that those dudes were such losers, and I couldn't hang up. Like she has her friend, and it's great, and then she's like, "Oh, so and so and her boyfriend or husband are coming
Right, just
over.
couldn't do it.
All right, sounds good." And I'm like, "This dude sucks." So I have it in my head that we're gonna be best friends, but our wives aren't gonna be best friends, and then it's gonna be like I have
The
to
whole
ask
thing.
mom if I can go play for
So
a while,
going
but
through
then
all
they
this
be
stuff, are you still best friends?
Yes.
yes.
Perfect.
But the
That's
wives
good.
became
That's
good
good.
friends. The
That's
kids
amazing.
love each other.
Good.
Just all worked out.
That's
Yep.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's
It's
So
been good.
exciting, you guys. It's so fun to be on the front of something and like just
Do you remember that excitement?
have an opportunity and like it's just there's a spark.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, there
that's-
really is.
Yeah,
it's-
and I mean I think we still have a spark too, but
Our spark.
We're tired.
We have many sparks that come and then they go, then they come and they go. And,
bottle rockets.
yeah, that's definitely what it's like.
That's awesome. So we're gonna jump to a couple of more, like we've talked, kind of you guys building the business, the tap room. Now there's just a couple of random little, like, if you could drink one of
Okay.
your beer for the rest of time, you could only have one. What is it?
Venture pills.
Venture Pills.
Wait, what? I'm sorry.
I'm
Hi.
older now.
I'm Karen. I am your business partner and wife. He always says Ben Hop.
I know, but I'm getting older, and
You
so
guys, this is throwing me off.
Bentop is my. I always say it's the beer we make for me, like,
this is
it's-
what I
it's my
mean.
favorite
This
beer.
is a slogan.
but I can't drink it all
It-
the time.
It's
Yeah.
6%.
It's higher
so
alcohol.
good.
It's hoppy. I mean, I'll start off with the Ben Hop and then I'll move to a
Yeah.
Pilsner or Light or something else.
Yeah.
It's your
So
favorite,
If
but
this
you
was
can't.
if this was 5 years ago, I would have said Ben Hop.
Yeah.
But now I'd say Venture Pills because I really love European style lagers, and I
Yeah.
think a lot of it probably comes down to my
Yeah.
my time in Germany.
Yeah.
And Venture Pills is just hoppy enough to kind of quench
Mhm.
that thirst for hoppiness.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it's also approachable enough that I can drink
Yeah.
it. I
Okay,
can drink
well, he
more than
stole
2 or
my
3 or 4.
answer because I
Yeah.
always say Venture Pills.
So I married
I'm
her.
drinking the light because viewers, we started at 3 and we have a long day ahead. But Venture Pills for sure. Also, when we got married, when he was at Rock Bottom, we brewed a beer together on that system,
Yep.
which I'm told is very closely.
That was the original
Similar to what
recipe
became the
base
Venture
to Venture
Pills.
Pills.
Okay.
We
Yep.
called ours the Knot.
The Knot.
Uh,
Not to be confused with the wedding magazine.
Oh yes.
Yes.
So now, what would be a beer from another brewery
hmm
that you admire, enjoy, favorite?
hmm
Like,
So when we first opened,
I got mine.
I can see it. I can see it. It took a second, and then it set in. He's
I was
I
like,
got
in the U.S. or internationally? What is it?
Oh,
Yeah.
I know what yours is.
I know you.
He has a few. We have a few. But I
got a
will
few.
say, like, when we first opened, it was like, gosh, if we could be like the Summit of Minnesota, another one, like Summit Extra Pale Ale is absolutely everywhere. It was
it's
like,
a great beer.
it's so good. It's so consistent. It's delicious. Yours is going to be
you gotta say-
Augustiner Edelstoff.
So internationally, Augustiner Edelstoff.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
I do know
Augustiner
my husband.
Augustiner Edelstoff. Maybe Augustiner Brewery in Munich is, especially when you get it at the Augustiner Keller, is the best beer I think I've ever had in my entire life. It's
Okay.
so good.
Well,
Right.
So tasty.
text us how to spell Augustine Edelstoff.
We'll put a link in the comments.
I know, like, did I say it?
Yep. But I think domestically, I think my favorite beer would probably be Sierra Nevada Pale Ale.
Sierra Nevada's delicious.
So
Also,
So
we
good.
used to, every year we'd go by Celebration.
Celebration Ale.
There's so many local ones too that we absolutely love.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot of the local, like, I feel like craft beers, especially with a lot of like just the smaller places, have
Yeah.
really came a long ways. And even like when the, tap rooms first became a thing, you
Yeah.
go to a lot of these small places, like they were craft brewery and craft beers were like, it was a very distinct flavor.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
And I think that a lot of them have evolved.
Because I think, a lot of times it was hobbyists that were getting into it, and they started, they homebrewed, and then they started brewing on a larger scale, and it's a different way, having done both, being a hobbyist and brewing different styles of beer, it's a little bit different approach than, having a degree and brewing it that way. And
Yeah.
I try to approach it both angles,
Yeah.
because there's, there are positives to each angle. There's a reason, the big guys they can't produce, certain craft beers as well as actual craft brewers. But it's also why it's hard for craft brewers to produce beers like the big guys.
Well,
And
kind of like the light.
Like the light. And that's why it took so much time and energy.
And that's why I
to
think
try to
it
create
started
that
with
beer.
so many
Yep.
hop forward beers, right? Like we love a good surly hoppy beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, it's I think that's why craft beer tasted a certain type. But now as, craft brewers have become a lot more knowledgeable and we got a lot more experience, and more of them have gone to school and this and that, you end up being able to, produce both styles. And, it's one of the things when I went to brewing school in Germany, the Germans had absolutely no idea what we were doing in the US. Like, as part of school, we developed a beer, and our group did a brown ale. But of course, they're like, "Whoa, got some Americans. Let's do an American brown ale." And I'm like, probably like, "What do you mean by an American brown ale?" They thought it was really hoppy, so they wanted to make it super bitter.
Oh.
They didn't think about like aromatics and balance
Yeah.
and this and that. So it was a good experience for me. They had all been looking down on me as this American brewer that didn't know anything. But then to explain the way we look at recipe development and stuff was one of those moments where I became
They were
pretty
like-
good friends with a lot of them. Ended up spending a lot of time with them as they were going through, a lot of their recipe development and their final beer projects. And they were, German students going through the German Baking and Brewing Academy. And it was a cool exchange of information, seeing the way they do things, the way we do things, and then they realized that, hey, we do things different over here, but we have something to offer.
Yeah.
It was a cool thing. But, that was a long time ago. They know a lot more about the way we do things now. That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
22 years? Holy cow.
So with brewing, and this will be focused towards probably you because this was your world.
Yep.
What's the most obscure, we'll use the word bold, idea you've had to do for a beer?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Like, was there ever where all of a sudden you're like, okay, this is going to be...
Probably
something that made you say, "Am I going to do that? I'm gonna do that."
I'm going to do that.
The bourbon barrel?
Yeah, it's not that obscure now, but our double shot double black, aging, making a, 11.2% imperial stout, basically aging it.
Brian loves bourbon.
Yeah, I love
right?
bourbon.
We used to joke, well, it
It's-
takes a lot of bourbon to make all this good beer.
It does. Also takes a lot of wine because I like wine as well.
but like it's aged for an entire year in
Yeah,
bourbon
an entire
barrels.
year, and then as we started
Wow.
producing more and more, we would always do a blend, and so we'd take, single year aged barrels. We always kept a certain percentage that we could blend in overall, and so it's the whole blending side of things. So we, some of our years of double shot, double black had upwards of 4 different vintages blended into a certain released
Oh, wow.
vintage.
And
And
hand
so-
dipped, wax dipped.
Hand dipped,
like,
waxed. We make our own cold pressed coffee here with coffee beans from
Yeah.
the coffee company, and so getting that mix and trying to find the right balance of cold pressed coffee in with the bourbon to barrel aged and how it interacts different types of barrels. It's just
Like
because you love
80
the bourbon,
Yeah.
like I love Woodfords and I love certain beers produced, but with Woodfords
Bourbons
bourbon
produced,
barrels,
Yeah.
but I don't think they have the best barrels for aging beer in. Like Jim Beam is amazing for aging beer, and I'm not a big fan of Jim Beam bourbon, but the way
Yeah.
it
Sorry,
imparted
Jim
itself in
Beam.
this beer.
We'll tag them.
Sorry.
But what was
Tag them in it. Just like,
what did we-
Wild Turkey rye specifically. Not a huge fan of that.
Yeah.
But great barrels.
Great barrels. Great barrels for aging beer in. And that was one of the things that was eye-opening getting into this and a lot of the blending is that, just because bourbon tastes a certain way out of barrels, that doesn't always lead to the best barrel quality for aging beer in. And of course, whether it's a barley wine or a stout or, an imperial brown or whatever, different types of barrels work better with those different styles. And so, that was kind of the blending side of things that really intrigued me.
And it's neat, you guys, like, even for me, he's like, okay, it's tasting day. Oh, what is, okay. And it was like 80 cups lined up. And
tasted
the
every single
team
barrel.
comes in and you can't possibly
it's a complete
taste
team
all
effort,
of them. So it's
really
like, hey,
team.
you taste 10, you taste 10, because they all taste different, but you're making sure that not one singular barrel is off in any way, because if that gets blended into the big batch, like it would not be good. And so it's this really, really
pressure.
neat,
No pressure.
No pressure at all.
and the team, the brewers and the packaging, like they love it.
So
It's
after
so
tasting, talking about frustration and stress dreams, some of the largest batches of double shot, double black that we did, we had 80 to 90 barrels that we were testing, and it was blending day, so we'd blend them all in. The night before blending day, I'd have frustration dreams about a couple of the barrels that we pulled that maybe were a little bit funky, which you could do some single barrel stuff with. You just don't want blended in to everything. I'd have frustration dreams about the wrong barrels being blended in, and all of a sudden the entire batch is gone because it's
It's an expensive
you're
beer.
talking like $80,000 worth of stuff.
And
in
it
this
actually,
batch.
yeah.
And so it's
Anyway,
low margin, high return, personal return. Because it was
little
good.
full, lot of
Yeah,
sap.
little full, lot of sap. So, and then that's and unfortunately that's a beer that we haven't done over the last couple of years. We're still doing some different vintages. We still have some barrels that
The
are 3 to
audience
4 years old.
Has changed a bit. And
wholesalers
it's- the
aren't as
barrels
excited about
doubled
it.
in cost.
Yep, raw
Doubled.
materials increased. So it's been tough to not do that, but
And
we
extra
may end
baked.
up revisit it.
Which,
And that was Neil's beer.
yeah, that was a
Yeah.
Neil's. That's a delicious too.
That
That
was
was
a pastry
barrel
stout.
aged.
I did a coconut chai stout once at Rock Bottom. That was interesting.
Mhm.
Turned
He
out
was
really well, but completely ruined.
date night.
Yeah, it did. Actually, it totally did. It did.
He's
Yeah.
like, I can't meet you for dinner. You'll have to
Yeah.
cancel the reservation. I have a stuck mash. What?
Yeah, the mash got stuck, and then I had issues in the kettle where this coconut that I'd added into the kettle basically clogged my heat exchanger because it didn't whirlpool out properly. And of course, experimenting. I'm learning at this stage, and so yeah, like a 8-hour brew day turned into a 12-hour frustrating ordeal of that.
So one of the things we did early on in our relationship of dating when he was brewing, I said, could I, because I'd say, what time will you be home? And it was never. And so I said, could I come in and brew with you?
She's like, what do you mean you don't know when you're going
And
to be
I
done?
did it one time, and I never will ask ever again for a time, because it's like anything could
You
happen.
don't know.
Anything could happen. And I was like, I got a lot of respect. I get it now.
hmm Yeah, she's
So,
brewed with me a few times.
Yeah.
Our son actually came in during COVID and brewed a batch.
Yeah, we called it
That's
science. We
Yeah.
called it Next Gen. It
Yep,
was
Next Gen Pale Ale.
Yeah.
And so
How
it was
cool
his
is that?
science class.
It
for
was
the day.
pretty awesome.
That was cool.
We loved
See, I
it.
love that.
That's
So,
cool.
kind of made a reference a little bit ago. Like our girls are all homeschooled,
Okay.
and so they do like a homeschool co-op on Wednesdays. And there's probably 75, 85 kids in this co-op school, and
Oh,
we have students from kindergarten through 8th grade.
okay.
Oh, wow.
And so we teach specifically like a life skills class,
Mhm.
I love it.
from K through 8. But like that hit with like that science day.
It
Like a
really
field trip for all
is.
the kids.
Yep.
Yeah.
He was checking the pH of runoffs and checking gravities and talking about the process and shoveling out the mash. Everything. He was doing it all.
I
it was
love
awesome.
I love that.
And now for some reason he doesn't want to be a brewer.
You realize that it's a lot of cleaning.
Yes. It is a
Yeah.
lot of cleaning.
Well, I suppose like to get it back. I mean, to get everything back to.
Oh yeah, in between every
Perfect
single
clean
batch,
slate.
everything needs to be reset and,
Yeah.
and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of cleaning.
Yeah,
Glorified
I mean, they
janitor.
literally they scrub this place top to
Mhm.
top to bottom at the end of every single week.
I mean, you can't.
Yeah.
Any little thing.
I
Yeah.
come from the school of thought that you walk into a brewery, and other brewers out there don't get upset at me. I'm sorry. If you can't keep the outside of your tanks clean, I can't trust you to keep the inside of your tanks clean. And that's one of our philosophies here. And so we do make sure that our team has time to make sure that everything is cleaned and organized at the end of every week. So when we start the following week, everything is set and ready to go and
Yeah.
looks good.
Yeah.
So
And
it's,
you enter your week with like clarity, right? It's
Mhm.
like a messy desk, and you feel chaos.
Yeah. Yeah. To start
Sometimes
a
you
week
have
in
to like
chaos.
clean it and then start.
yeah, my
Yeah.
desk is pretty
Right.
darn messy.
That was not a Minnesota passive aggressive to this guy.
Might have been. I can take it.
Anyway, yeah. I know. I'm sorry. I feel like we're very talky.
That's
So are we?
What
We
this is for.
will start talking, and
It's your first
not last week.
long podcast.
Like we'll be sitting like right now. We film in my lounge, and like we'll be in there. The camera will be set up, and we'll just be talking about what we're going to talk about. But if we just start rolling, it's done.
Yeah.
But we'll have the whole podcast before we actually then sit down
Sit
and
and
discuss everything we
record it.
just talked about.
Yeah.
Again,
You're like, that sounds
add in
good. Let's
13
repeat
more
it.
side quests.
I love
side
that
quest a lot.
term,
Side
side
quest.
quest.
Yeah. We side quest a lot.
We call it sidebar,
Sidebar.
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
See, a lot of our
If you're
sidebars though, we end up questing a lot further
Questing
down.
a
Yeah,
lot further.
like
Okay.
like a
Trail.
sidebar could be like, okay, this is where we're headed, and we're gonna pull off to the side of the road. We're gonna talk about it, and then we're gonna jump back on, continue. Ours is more so like, hey, let's turn right and go this way for a while and see what happens, and then we'll shoot up. We'll stay parallel to where we were
Parallel.
headed.
We know we'll get back sometime.
Yeah.
Sometime we'll get
we're
back.
hovering
May
above.
not be in that podcast, but eventually you'll
At
make
some
it.
At
point.
some point,
Yeah, at some
we'll get
point.
back to what we were talking about.
Yeah.
I love it. I love that.
So looking forward, what is next for
Oh
Vent Paddle?
boy,
Oof, that's a hard question.
that is a hard question.
And we'll even condense it down. We'll take away even big picture, but we'll look at the next 24 months, the next 2 years.
I think one of our big priorities is to make sure the hemp ban gets overturned.
Yeah.
Because for the health of business, that's a huge thing. If it doesn't get overturned, we're going to look a lot different in a year.
So, is there anything that like viewers or like Mike and I, anything that we can do to kind of help that?
Yeah, reach out to your,
Local elected
federal
officials.
representatives,
Yeah.
your senators, your all of them. Reach
Every
out,
voice
send emails,
together
send letters.
is louder.
voicemails, all that stuff. They are hearing a lot because this is one of those issues that is actually quite nonpartisan.
Yes.
Both Republicans and Democrats,
Yeah.
partake in hemp beverages, and the more people that learn that there's a good possibility they'll disappear.
Well, and it's
the more
not just
people-
the beverage itself. It's the supply chain
Mhm.
and the people behind it, the people delivering it, the wholesalers, the retailers, the packaging companies, like marketing. It far.
Yeah, there's a lot.
A lot of
Yeah.
most of our beer wholesalers are relying on it now as well, and
Mm-hmm.
so won't only impact us, but it'll impact them, and the entire beer industry will have some
Yeah.
difficulties if it's not able to to be overturned. With beer consumption dropping, alcohol consumption dropping overall, more people are looking at other beverages like hemp beverages to fill that void. And if they disappear, it's going to affect the industry.
Yeah.
So
But
that's the number one priority.
we're going to keep selling as much as we can. Well, we can.
We now have like
over the next
340
year.
some days. that we
We're
can still
counting
sell.
down.
Yeah.
We are going to keep making delicious beer,
Mhm.
and getting that out into the world, and potentially we talked about getting deeper into Michigan, which is exciting. We partnered with a new distributor several months ago in the UP, and so we're trying to work on plans for the greater state of Michigan, which would be great.
One thing we are looking at right now is kind of getting, with everything that has gone on since COVID, we're kind of looking at getting back to some of the basics and kind of looking backwards to look forwards a little bit.
Yeah.
And we are doing a couple limited releases of some beers that we haven't done in a couple years.
that
which we're
people keep
excited about that.
asking for.
And we have a long list of beers that people
Cold.
constantly ask for.
Yeah.
One of them's our Snowmaker Pale Ale, which is a beer winter pale ale seasonal that we did for a few years that was pretty darn successful. And then also
Harness.
the Harness Rye IPA.
And that'll be
Bring
in
it back
March.
In March. So,
Yeah, so that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just a couple new innovations. The light, we do a lime light,
Mhm.
and then this next year we're going to do a grapefruit light, and probably a new pale ale.
New pale ale coming out.
Yeah, just some new innovations, some fun programming in the tap room, live music. We've got our 13th festiversary in May, which will be fun.
We'll have to come up to
Yeah,
that.
we'll continue to
You should
innovate on the sour beer side as well. We've got a rotating sour that's out right now. It's pineapple mango. We're working on ideas for the next one. We'll just have them kind of rotating through.
Yeah.
We've done so many sours. We're like, what's new? We've used most fruits that we can.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's some fun stuff, and so we've got some projects ahead of us.
Yeah.
Just innovate a little bit and
Yeah.
get back
Mustache
to having some
Mixology
fun.
beer.
Exactly.
Ooh, we could do a collaboration. We do love
Good.
collaborations.
Good work.
Collaborations are fun.
How would
They
that
are.
work?
Yeah.
Think about
I
it.
think absolutely.
Or maybe what we do is take like one of your signature syrup blends, like what was a blueberry.
So our blueberry rosemary is a big one for us.
We
We have a
could do a
cranberry
blueberry rosemary seltzer in the pilot, or maybe in the light.
Anyway,
I don't know.
That'd be cool,
Put a little mustache on it.
right?
there you go.
I'm on board with
Anyway.
that.
You can have your own cans. Ooh.
That's on our list. That's on our list to try to figure out.
Yeah,
So-
you guys have a lot of fun things ahead.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's what we're hoping.
Yeah.
So for anybody who hasn't been here, then do you guys want to just tell people where they can find you,
Sure.
social media, etc.?
Yeah, so we have the tap room in Duluth. We are open 7 days a week. Lots of fun stuff, tons of live music, food trucks, a lot of events always happening. Check out online or paddlebrewing.com. Beer, you can find all of our beer in all over Minnesota, Wisconsin, part of the UP, Michigan, and part of North Dakota.
Yep.
What
Our
else?
hemp beverages you can also find throughout the state of Minnesota,
Yes.
most of the state of Wisconsin.
And you can
as well.
buy online that ships to many states.
Yep.
Which is,
hmm
and we always have a special little discount.
Always a special discount online for hemp beverages.
Yeah.
And gummies and
First time
stuff.
buyers, 20% off. It's a great way to shop and get it to
Mhm.
where you're going.
Yep. Get it directly to your house.
Is it like a particular code? Is it?
It'll
something
change, and once you log in and order, there's a pop-up that says, "Are you a first time?" And then you
Mhm.
click it, and it'll do the 20% off. And I promise we don't send tons of junk spam stuff your way.
You do not.
But you can sign up for the newsletter, and it's really just neat facts about things we're doing or new beverages we're releasing.
Cool. We'll put all that in the description box down below and in the comments. If you are in the Duluth area, please come in, check these guys out. Again, go to your liquor store, find anything you can. The product is fantastic.
Thank you.
And we couldn't be more thankful for you guys sitting down with us
Thank you.
today.
It's been
Appreciate the opportunity.
This was so
Yeah.
fun. So,
Yeah.
guys, with that, we will catch you on the next
Cheers.
episode. Bye.
Adios.
What, do you guys have a signature?
He usually does this, and I go like,
And then whoosh.